Okay, so this lesson is on transformations of graphs and solutions. And it's pretty easy, especially because we did a lot of this last week. So we're really going to focus on domain and range for this lesson, but let's review just some of our basic stuff. So if you remember, the axis of symmetry is a line that goes down the middle of your graph, and it's always going to be x equals some number. So in this graph, here's your little line that cuts it in half, and it's at x equals 0 because it goes straight down the middle. Whatever your axis of symmetry is always the first number of your vertex, okay? And remember, your vertex is either going to be at the very bottom, which in this case is going to make it a minimum, or if it's at the very top, it would make it a maximum. Just review from last week. So this vertex is down here, it's at the very bottom, and the ordered pair would be at 0, and then we go down 1, so it'd be at 0, -1. All right, let's talk domain and range. If you remember, domain goes left and right. So let's look at this. And, you know, quadratics keep going on and on. So even though there aren't arrows on this, there really are. So let's put some arrows on here. So let's go to the left. That arrow means it's going to keep going left forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Let's go to the right. It's going to keep going right forever and ever and ever and ever. So if you remember from linear equations, when it goes left and right forever and ever and ever, we call that all real numbers. All real numbers. The range goes how far down to how high up. So this definitely does not go down forever. It stops right here at -1. Okay, so my range is going to be at -1. We got to figure out, is it going to be all numbers above -1, or is it going to be all numbers below -1? And if you look at your graph, it's concave up, which means it goes up. So it's going to be all your y's, because range is y's, that are bigger than or equal to, because it does touch at -1, -1. All right, let's do another one. Oh, this one's kind of blurry, but we can get through it. All right, so axis of symmetry again is right down the middle, so that's going to be x equals 0. Your vertex is down here at the very bottom, so that ordered pair would be 0, 2, because it crosses at 1, 2. Domain, it's going to go left forever, and it's going to go right forever. So your domain is all real numbers. Your range is not all real numbers. We need to see, this is as low as it goes. Remember, range goes down to high. It goes down and it stops at 2. So we got to figure out, are my y's going to be bigger than 2 or less than 2? And since it's concave up, it's going up, that means that my y's are going to be bigger than or equal to 2. Axis of symmetry, again, it's right down the middle. So it's going to be x equals 0. The vertex this time is at the very top, which makes it a maximum. Remember that from last week, maximum. And the ordered pair is going to be at 0, 4. Okay, let's talk domain. It's going to go left forever because it really has an arrow. It's going to go right forever because there's an arrow. So your domain is all real numbers. Your range is not all real numbers. It will go down forever, but it only goes up to 4. So we got to figure out, are y's going to be bigger than 4 or less than 4? And since it's concave down, right, that means it's going to be all of your y's are going to be less than or equal to 4 because it goes down instead of up. All right, let's do, let me see if there are any weird. All right, let's look here. This is the graph of x squared plus 3x plus 2. Estimate the solutions. All right, so we've done this a lot. This is our third week going on where are the solutions of quadratics. So hopefully you remember solutions are where it touches your x-axis. So on this one, it touches at -1 and -2. Now, I don't know if we've ever really gotten into what does that mean. That means if I plugged in -1 everywhere I saw an x, I would get an answer of 0. Same thing, if I plugged in -2 everywhere I saw an X, I would get 0. All right, in the chaos that is going on around me, I forgot to tell you, look at the domain for all these that we did. The domain for this first one was all real numbers. The second one, all real numbers. The third one, all real numbers. That's the awesome thing for quadratics. Your domain will always be all real numbers, because no matter what the quadratic is, it's always going to go left and right forever. So your domain is all real numbers. So the only thing you really need to try and figure out is what your range is. Okay, so let's go back here. All right, so here's another one. Estimate the solutions. Well, this one looks like it's about at 0. This one looks like it's about, well, this is between 6 and 7. This is about halfway in between. So I would guess like 6.3 or 6.4, somewhere along there. Okay, because it's not exactly on 6 and it's not exactly on 7. But if you guess somewhere in the lower 6 point somethings, then that would be fine. Solutions here. This one looks like it's pretty much halfway in between, which would be at 1. This one is not, so I would guess like -1.8 or something like all right, here. Okay, good. This one's multiple choice. So where does it cross at? Well, this one crosses at -2, and this one crosses at +2. So if this was on my EOC, I would pick B, -2 and +2. What's a possible equation? Well, you got a lot of options. The easiest one for you guys, I would say grab a calculator, type this in, y equals, graph it, see if it looks like this. I'm going to show you mathematically how I can just figure out which one is right. This -5 at the ends means it would cross at, so it means it would cross at -5. Well, it doesn't. It touches right here at 0. So I know that's not right. This negative in front of the 5x squared means it would be concave down. The negative means concave down, which this is clearly not concave down. So that's not right. The only difference between B and D is B says y equals 5x. Well, that's just going to be a linear line. Okay? So the parabola, the only one it could be is D, because it's a positive. There's no number on the end, which means it crosses at 0, 0. And it's a squared, which makes it the parabola. Here's another one. What's the possible equation? Again, if you don't know, if you don't want to try and remember all these facts, just graph them. See what your calculator looks like. If you graphed A, it would touch down here at -5 and it would go up. So it's not A. B, if you graph B, it would just be a straight line. If you graph C, it would be, well, I mean D. D is the parabola we just did that looks like this. So C is the one that works. And you know that because it's the only one that's negative that would make it concave down. All right, here's another one. It's concave up, which means I'm going to go ahead and knock out C. We can knock out D because we already did that. That's the one that touches right here at the origin and goes up. So the difference here is this one says it's going to touch at -5, and this one says it's going to touch at +5. Well, where does it touch at? -5 or +5? It touches at -5. So A would be my answer there. Okay, here. We kind of did one or two like this last week also. So this answer is at -4. And this answer is at +3. Now, I would use smarts and go ahead and say, hey, look, well, yeah, this is concave up, which means is this 2 going to be negative or should it be positive? Which one makes it concave up? Positive makes it concave up. So it wouldn't be A or C because those would be concave down. So remember on this, when you're putting it back into the parentheses, you do the opposite. So if I got a -4 as my answer, it would really be a +4 in the parentheses. And if I got a +3, it would really be a -3 in parentheses. So D should be your final answer. But again, if you forgot all of those rules when you get to the EOC, just type them in your calculator and you'll see there's only one answer that could possibly work. Again, type them in your calculator, see which one works. But just to save some time, it's concave down, which means it has to be negative. So it's not A and it's not B. Got a negative here and a negative here. And the only difference is this says it should touch at -2 And this says it should touch at positive 2. Well, where does it touch at? Positive 2. So D is my answer. All right, so if you will go try the 11.3 worksheet and let me know if you need help.